Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for our 7th bout of the evening. It is a heavyweight title bout. We've got Steve Mowry taking on Chris Araujo. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. We've got Steve Mowry, 22 years of age, a whopping 6'9" tall, weighing in at 230 pounds. Steve Mowry is 6-0 undefeated fighter, taking on Chris Araujo, 28 years of age, 6 feet tall, weighing in at 260 pounds, with an amateur record of 3 wins and 2 losses. This is going to be a very exciting fight, Mike. Something interesting to note about this, both fighters are Caged Madness champions. Now, Steve Mowry is currently the Caged Madness heavyweight champion, where Chris Araujo is the super heavyweight champion. This is obviously a league other than our own, but I like to think of this as kind of a unification bout.
It is, and it's a big one because both these guys are very big. We just saw a guy fight who was 6'6", but he is tiny in comparison to these men.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Steve Mowry, 6'9", 230 pounds, and he's not fat. I mean, Mowry is built. He's strong in every sense of the word. We're taking a few minutes here, ladies and gentlemen, to call out our fighters. We can still discuss what's about to happen. We're about to see 2 guys clash in a really ugly way.
And I think the way this is going to break down, honestly, is Steve Mowry is a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a jiu-jitsu phenom, if you will. Chris Arroyo, more of a hitter. So
yeah, I mean,
Chris is going to be looking for the knockout, the stoppage, something like that. And most likely Mowry is going to be trying to put this on the ground.
100%. Mowry, I'm not sure exactly of the titles. He's highly touted in jiu-jitsu, but here we have Chris Araujo. Arajo coming out.
Araujo, I'm not entirely certain, but
here we got Chris coming out. He's 5-2 as an amateur. I misspoke earlier. 28 years of age, 6 years the elder of Steve Mowry. Arajo's last fight was a win via decision versus Eddie Faison in May of this year, so he actually fought less than a month ago. Like I said, he's the current Caged Madness super heavyweight champion. Big guy. I mean, big, strong, but the fact that he's fought and won decisions tells me that he is a game fighter and he's got the cardio to go the distance.
This is going to be, this is actually a fight I've been looking forward to since I got here tonight. I like seeing big guys go at it. Everybody likes this.
Heavyweight MMA is what makes the world go round. I mean, a lot of times people don't know the intricacies of the game, and whenever you see smaller weight classes, that's a lot of what's happening. It's intricate moves, fast movements, you know, but heavyweights are the ones that go in and they knock each other out. You know, Steve Mowry has won with knockouts, TKOs, and submissions, but, you know, Chris Araujo, he's got a lot of knockouts on his record.
Well, I mean, for years and years and years, the so-called the toughest man in the world would have been the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. And when you would ask anybody who's the champ, you know they meant the heavyweight, not the middleweight, not the lightweight champ. When you're asking who is the champ right now, it's the heavyweight. Why? Because heavyweights end fights early in brutal and dangerous ways.
Steve Mowry, big as shit. Look at this guy.
There's a lot of Steve Mowry to go around.
Nice, handsome guy, huh? Check him.
Got a great hairline. Very envious.
Rugged beard. I actually have had the opportunity to grapple with Steve Mowry. I consider myself a jiu-jitsu player in my own right. And rolling with Steve Mowry was like rolling with a bag of sand that can choke you. I could not move him. I couldn't pick him up. I couldn't slide him around. I had nothing. And then I was unconscious. So, I mean, he's a phenomenal grappler. I believe he's a national champion in some respect. A lot of different leagues with jiu-jitsu, but he has won a lot of titles. He's traveled for jiu-jitsu.
And
trades with Mike Demko.
Mike Demko's the guy in the corner there putting on the Vaseline. And Demko, he just got his BJJ black belt awarded, I think about a month ago.
Was it Eric Paulson, I believe?
Yes, Eric Paulson, who I think is Machado under the Machados. So,
combat submission wrestling expert.
I think that's the lineage there.
Mowry ducking to get into the cage. Let's send it over to our ring announcer, Dan Bogan, for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for the heavyweight amateur Gladiators of the Cage Championship. First, introducing your challenger, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 261 pounds. He stands an even 6 feet tall, 28 years of age with a 5-2 record. He fights for 3 Elements Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He fights for the Barn in Utica, PA. He also represents the National Guard. He's a member of the 1st 112 Infantry. He is from Meadville, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Chris Arajo. And his opponent and defending heavyweight amateur champion of the world. He weighed in at 232 pounds. He stands 6 feet 9 inches tall, 22 years of age, undefeated at 6-0. He's from the Wrecking Crew Jiu-Jitsu and the Club Boxing Center in Butler, Pennsylvania. He is from Butler, Steve Mowry. Your referee, Bill Bookwalter.
You guys, okay, back to your corner. Okay. Right. Stay loose, wait for the doctor back to the cage.
Just a very minor delay.
You're right, just stay loose, waiting for the doctor.
We are just waiting to start the fight until the doctor gets to ringside.
It's a pretty smart policy we have with our athletic commissions. You have to have a doctor on hand. You never know what's going to happen, what might require immediate attention. Probably a fairly awkward 30 seconds or so for both fighters.
Anybody here a doctor? Dr. J.
Good. Okay. Steve, you ready?
Dr. Kevorkian.
Ready? Fight!
Is there a doctor in the house?
Dr. Dre. Oh, big shots thrown already by Arajo. Big kick there.
Nice kicks.
Arajo, he's moving.
He can move. Move for a guy his size. Yeah. Oh, he just whiffed with that, but that had KO written all over it.
Yeah, Arajo not afraid to get in close and mix it up, which is what he's going to need to do to fight a guy with the size of Mowry. I would say Arajo's key to success here is to not go to the ground.
Most likely, I do not think he wants to go to the ground. Even being on top, I imagine Mowry's guard is a substantial threat.
I'm wondering if this is part of the game plan for Arajo to chop out the legs of Mowry, make it a little bit more difficult for him to shoot and try to get to the ground. But I can't believe how light on the feet Arajo is for a guy 260 pounds.
And kind of a squat 260.
Yeah, I would say so.
You know, he's actually very light-footed, and he throws kicks well.
Yeah, his kicks are going nice and high. I mean, he's a flexible guy.
I mean, I dare say, you know what? It reminds me a little of a Mark Hunt.
I would have to agree with that. I mean, maybe even better kicks than him.
Nice sprawl.
Easily stopping the takedown.
Almost a knee to the face there. Almost. That was close. Which is an illegal technique in the amateur ranks here.
I would have to say right now, Arajo's piecing up Mowry. I mean, he's not creating any damage on the face. Mowry's smartly using that push kick.
Lowry's landed a couple of those push kicks, and they're really nice. And he's landing some jabs here, and he's kind of doing some damage to Arajo's face. But
this might be the one. There it is.
That was a good takedown.
Very bad spot for Arajo right now. Mowry, a high pedigree jiu-jitsu player.
I think it's going to be very hard to get Lowry off.
Yeah, this is exactly what Mowry wants. He's a smart grappler. He'll likely take his time, not make very many mistakes. Switching to what we know is twister side control to pull him out. There it is.
Nice,
Stand as ears and forward.
Really slick. And he is going to try to just pound this out.
Arajo hiding his head. Smart technique, but with a guy this big on top of you, I mean, it's tough.
Trying to hide the legal target zones. Flipping his head back and forth there. Smart.
Smart. Now we're using his grapevines, or his hooks, as you will, to keep Arajo from really posturing his hips up very high.
I think at the 10-second mark, he's going to try a submission here.
Armbar, looking for the armbar.
Looking for that armbar. Probably not quite enough time to pull it off.
Time.
But
yeah, he ended that round very smartly.
Good round.
Well, we see what's happening now, folks. It's Steve Mowry looking to get him to the ground and perform
great
some
job staying on those ears for me, okay?
Arajo throwing bombs.
And I would give that round to Mowry, who I have to apologize to because I was calling him Lowry for a minute there, but it's Mowry, and he, I believe, won that round.
You've probably got Lowry's steak seasoning on your mind.
I do. I always
Really
have
good.
steaks and seasoning on my mind.
And I've always got Steve Mowry on my mind. What a guy. Look at him.
That's a little weird, but I'll go with it.
I like his fighting. So, I mean, we really saw a tremendous amount of footwork and movement out of Arajo. Not exactly what I expected from a guy his size, but that's kind of a pleasant surprise. I could see big things coming through that.
Yeah, he's kind of fleet of foot.
Yeah.
And agile.
Absolutely. With the right game plan, I mean, if he can keep Mowry off and take him to the ground, he might be able to pull off some stuff.
I think
Take a step back to the corner
he
for me,
seems
bud.
also chock full of
One step back
power,
for
and
me,
if he
Steve.
could land the one big shot,
Are you
I
ready?
think that could turn the fight.
Fighter ready? Fight!
Round 2 underway. Steve Mowry, Chris Arajo. Mowry in the red.
Time.
A little bit of a low blow there.
Corner, you got
Yeah,
five.
Mowry having to suck it
I know
up.
he's
He
tall.
has up to 5 minutes to recover.
Just soft warning, not a hard
Totally
soft warning. Watch sticks.
unintentional.
I know he's tall.
Absolutely,
Anything
it
towards the
is
red
definitely
basket's gonna
a
land
move that
lower
will
on him than
affect
anybody
you
else, all right?
pretty
You got a couple minutes to recover.
significantly.
Stay in the corner for me. Okay, I just gave him a soft warning. Do me a favor.
This is
Deep
the
breath
time,
in.
though, Arajo, whenever
Deep
you
breath out.
land a low blow on an
100% good to go
opponent, you
from
need
the
to stay
kick.
ready. A lot of guys will feel
time.
bad, but
Fight!
he shouldn't. He
Yeah.
needs to stay there and get ready.
Mentally, you can't allow yourself to be sympathetic.
Mowry throwing a lot of good long kicks.
Good hook by Arajo.
Arajo's just winding up, looking to throw a bomb. You can see it. You can see the way he postures his hips. Beautiful multiple
Nice series of
punch
punches
combos.
there.
Oh, my God.
What's that?
I like to think Arajo is kind of finding his rhythm and his range here. Nice body shot.
I'm liking that Arajo's going up high, going down low.
Spin kick by Arajo. Spinning back fist followed with a shot there. But
Man,
Mowry with the double leg.
very smartly placed double leg. You waited until
Really?
Arajo was coming off a punch and just grabbed the legs.
Arajo just got a little bit too aggressive. Just forgot that he needs to defend that takedown at all times.
That's why they call Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's the patient martial art. I mean, he's going to wait for his opportunity. He's going to pull. Oh, it looks like he's going for a Kimura, a far side Kimura. Great armbar.
And he
Oh, my
tapped him.
God.
It looked like he straight. It looked like it was straight. It looked like he straightened it out.
Steve Mowry.
Steve Mowry looking like he's going to fall directly on top of us.
That's a beautiful
at the
celebration.
broadcast area.
Mowry with the heavyweight championship. What a fight. I mean, he really endured a storm there.
Yeah.
137. Tap out due to a straight armbar.
Nice show of respect by both fighters. They both know they had a battle.
Hey, don't go.
I mean, that was a really slick submission there. I hope we can get a look at that on the instant replay.
I would like to see that
Hey, I was watching
in
that. That was a
particular
straight armbar, right?
and see exactly
Yeah,
what
yeah, it was
happened.
like-
I think it
Yeah,
was
straight armbar.
a Americana that got straightened out, so it became
Yeah,
a
gloves.
straight
We need
armbar.
gloves working off him.
Yeah. See, it was an Americana.
And then it went
Yeah,
straight
just
right
unwrap
there.
the tape. They generally come off fairly
For
easy.
it, if you will.
You say that.
Wow, I mean, that's a testament to the strength of Steve Mowry as well. That's not an easy move to finish.
That really isn't.
A lot of the times, if your opponent's strong enough, they'll be able to just literally kind of muscle their way out and twist their
keep
arm
working
in
they
a way
need
to
to
get
see
out of
this.
it.
Okay.
Mowry's
Yeah,
strong,
he'll probably
he's
just
confident, he's precise.
I think it's not only his strength, he got really good arm placement on that, where his forearm rested underneath the elbow was pretty much right where it needs to be to finish that.
Hey, you got to get back in the cage. Don't ever do that if the little...
That's all there is to that. Steve Mowry moving on to an unbeaten 7-0 and retaining the belt.
Very impressive.
This doesn't exactly mean that Mowry's the Cage Madness champion, but, you know.
It kind of does.
It kind of does. I mean, he still is. And, I mean, there's a pretty significant weight discrepancy between the two of them as well. You know, Mowry's 230, facing the 260. 260 at the time of the weigh-ins. Who knows what he weighs right now?
Yeah, I think that the problem here is Araujo, I think, is a slightly better striker than Mowry, but Mowry is way better at jiu-jitsu than Araujo.
Absolutely.
And as soon as it moved to the grappling sphere, he was so overmatched.
Absolutely. Let's send it to our ring announcer, Dan Bogan, for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end came at 1 minute and 37 seconds of the second round via the tap out for your winner and still heavyweight amateur Gladiators of the Cage champion of the world, Steve Mowry from the red corner. Charlie Smith, take it away. Butler, where are you at?
Steve, great job tonight defending the heavyweight title against a very game opponent. What's next for you, Steve?
Have a few more amateur fights, I think. Who knows? We definitely have big stuff in the future, just nothing I can talk about right now. But I do know that I can thank my team, my coaches, all my training partners, my friends and family, everybody who came out. I see all you guys, everybody who cheered for me, everybody in Butler. Thanks so much.
How many people come out here to see Steve win tonight?
I love you guys. Thank you.
Great job. We look forward to seeing you defend the belt in the near future.
Thanks so much. God's so good. Thanks again, everybody.
Congratulations. Great job, Steve.
Well, there you have it, folks. Steve Mowry continuing his unbeaten streak, and now the Gladiators of the Cage heavyweight champion. Coming up next, we've got Francis Healy taking on Matt DiMarcantonio. But first, a word from our sponsors.